عذرا بيروت.
Good afternoon. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Linda Tamim, and these are today's headlines. Lebanon's ministers fail once again to reach any decisions during today's cabinet meeting. Former Prime Minister Saad Hariri discusses Lebanon's stability with Progressive Socialist Party leader Walid Jumblat in Paris. And at least 55 people are killed and 200 injured in a massive truck bomb attack in Baghdad. Lebanon's ministers lived up to expectation by again failing to reach any decision during today's cabinet meeting. Talking to the press at the end of the session, Information Minister Ramzi Jrej said the 3-hour session concluded without any agreement and amounted to little more than ministers giving their opinions about political issues. Jrej said the protracted trash crisis remained unresolved due to sectarian interests. In his opening speech at the session, Prime Minister Tamam Slam criticized the disruption of institutions, adding that political parties should overcome disputes and decide on urgent matters. Jrej also explained that Free Patriotic Movement ministers had raised the issue of appointing top army brass as a priority during the session. Foreign Affairs Minister Gibran Bassil says ministers explicitly said during the cabinet session that external powers will decide who is to become Lebanon's next president and army commander. In a news conference held right after today's cabinet session, Bassil commented on what he saw as a positive development. He said the executive body was disrupting itself by not making the decision it was responsible for, responding to accusations that the Free Patriotic Movement was obstructing cabinet's work. Some 50 employees of the Beirut port briefly rallied to protest the pile-up of garbage at the facility, demanding that no more trash be dumped in the work premises. A huge pile of trash covered in a blue plastic sheet could be seen at Beirut Port near the Karantina slaughterhouse and fish market. The demonstration comes at a time when the government is wrestling with an exploding garbage crisis. Former Prime Minister Saad Hariri has discussed Lebanon's stability with Progressive Socialist Party leader MP Walid Jumblat. A statement released by Hariri's office said the meeting took place at Hariri's residence in Paris yesterday evening. During the dinner meeting, both men reportedly tackled the latest developments in the region and ways to safeguard Lebanon's stability. An abandoned car found in Zahle reportedly belongs to a woman who was reported missing on Wednesday. The national news agency says Joseline Mello, 33, left her house yesterday afternoon to book a flight at a local travel office, after which her family were unable to contact her. Mello's car was found abandoned in Zahle's industrial area with the keys still inside. Two explosions have taken place in the Syrian coastal city of Latakia. At least 2 were killed and 14 wounded in a rocket attack in downtown Latakia in front of the city's top Sunni authority, Dar al-Ifta. Another explosion took place on the city's seafront promenade, killing and wounding several people, but no official figures have been released. Latakia is seen as a major stronghold for the Syrian government and the Alawite community. So far, the city has been spared much of the violence that has taken place during the ongoing Syrian crisis. Syrian rebels in recent weeks have been advancing on Alawite majority villages as part of a major offensive on government-controlled areas. The U.S. has launched its first airstrikes by Turkey's-based F-16 fighter jets against Islamic State targets in Syria, marking a limited escalation of a year-long air campaign that critics have called excessively cautious. The United States has sent 6 F-16 jets and about 300 personnel to an airbase in Turkey after Ankara agreed last month to allow American planes to launch airstrikes against ISIS from there. The Pentagon said in a statement the small detachment is from the 31st Fighter Wing based at Aviano Air Base, Italy. Support equipment was also sent, but no details were provided. And still in the Middle East, at least 55 people have been killed and 200 injured in a massive truck bomb attack in Baghdad. Police say the attack this morning took place in a crowded vegetable market in Sadr City, a Shia district in the northeast of the Iraqi capital. when a refrigerator truck packed with explosives blew up. Islamic State militants commonly target predominantly Shiite neighborhoods such as Sadr City with the goal of sending a message to the Shiite-dominated government. On another note, the German Defense Ministry said Kurdish forces in northern Iraq who are fighting Islamic State militants were attacked with chemical weapons a few days ago. Still to come in our program, powerful explosions in China kill at least 50 people. More details after the break. Welcome back. You're watching the English newscast. Security was bolstered at a sports stadium holding hundreds of migrants on the Greek island of Kos. A day after violence broke out at the site, it was not immediately clear who had sparked the violence. Once calm had returned, police ushered yet more migrants into the stadium, packing the stands. Cuba has convened a celebration in Havana for leader Fidel Castro's birthday. The celebration took place on the eve of Castro's 89th birthday. The fanfare took place the same week as a historic ceremony marking the restoration of ties with Cuba's longtime foe, the United States. The two countries' embassies are already up and running, and this week U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry will be making a landmark trip to Cuba to acknowledge the relaunching of ties. Castro said completely normal relations with the United States would be impossible as long as Washington maintains its economic embargo against the island. Republican presidential candidates have expressed concern over Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton having a private email server at her home. The comments from Jeb Bush and Mike Huckabee, two of the 18 Republican presidential candidates, came as Clinton gave the U.S. Justice Department her private email server and a thumb drive of work-related emails from her tenure as Secretary of State.
The fact that the FBI has taken her server, taken the thumb drives, is disturbing. For me, it's a national security consideration that if classified information was going over a private server against the rules of the Obama administration and against common sense, I mean, you're Secretary of State, you're the second most important person in terms of the implementation of foreign policy. You want to be behind a firewall that is safe. I mean, we got problems with our federal government firewalls, obviously, but to have a private server in the, in your home, I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's just not, that doesn't pass the smell test.
The question is, why hasn't she done this already? And it's interesting to me that General Petraeus was convicted of a crime for far less in terms of having some classified information that he didn't even send anywhere. If Hillary Clinton does in fact prove to have given out top secret emails and made those available and sent them to anyone, then it's going to be real hard for her to have a consequence that would be much less than that of David Petraeus, for whose crime he was actually convicted and sentenced.
At least 50 people were killed, including at least a dozen firefighters following explosions at a warehouse for dangerous materials in the northeastern Chinese port of Tianjin. The blast injured more than 700 and sent shockwaves through the city. Chinese state news said the blast started late on Wednesday after a container of hazardous material exploded in a warehouse around midnight local time. At least 36 firefighters were initially reported missing. The blast knocked doors off buildings in the area and shattered windows up to several kilometers away. There were no indications of what caused the blast and no immediate signs of any large release of toxic chemicals into the air. The Elvis Presley Forever stamp has been unveiled at a ceremony in Memphis. The singer's ex-wife Priscilla Presley joined U.S. Postmaster General Megan Brennan for the ceremony outside Graceland, Presley's longtime home in the state of Tennessee. The stamp, a black and white image of young Elvis accompanied by Presley's signature in gold ink, is part of the Postal Service's Music Icon series. It goes on sale around the U.S. this week. Another ceremony is planned for today at the Elvis Presley birthplace in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Elvis knew that that there was something in store for him. He knew when he was a little boy, and he felt that that he was hand-chosen and that he needed to fulfill it. He didn't quite know what it was. In fact, throughout his life, he was always searching for what God picked him for and why. Was there something more than his music? But really, in looking back, his music was everything that, and what he delivered in all the types of music, he certainly touched everyone with it. You see a young boy that has no idea what's in store for him. So I think this truly represents the beginning. And again, I think that this would resonate with a lot of kids too, who look at him and his looks still appeal. It's a classic look.
The first trailer for Quentin Tarantino's latest film, The Hateful Eight, is finally out. With performances from Kurt Russell, Samuel L. Jackson, and Jennifer Jason Leigh, the trailer gives a sneak peek at the much-anticipated movie, which is due to hit theaters in late December and early January, just making the deadline for Oscar considerations. The movie, a post-Civil War Western, follows a bounty hunter and his female fugitive prisoner who must take shelter with 6 other strangers on a Wyoming mountain pass as they wait out a blizzard. The script by Tarantino was infamously leaked online last year, and Tarantino had then threatened to shelve the project. Here's the trailer.
Got room for one more? They call him the hangman. When the handbill says dead or alive, the rest of us just shoot you in the back, come up on top of a perch somewhere and bring you in dead over a saddle. But when John Roof, the hangman, catches you, you hang. Get in, boys!
This here is Daisy Domergue. She's wanted dead or alive for murder. When that sun comes out, I'm taking this woman to hang. Is there anybody here committed to stopping me from doing that?
Well, well, well. Looks like Minnie's haberdashery is about to get cozy for the next few days.
Yes, it does.
One of them fellas is not what he says he is.
Move a little strange, you're gonna get a bullet. Not a warning, not a question. A bullet.
Now we're talking.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a recap of our top stories. Lebanon's ministers fail once again to reach any decisions during today's cabinet meeting. Former Prime Minister Saad Hariri discusses Lebanon's stability with Progressive Socialist Party leader Anthony Walid Jumblat in Paris. And at least 55 people are killed and another 200 injured in a massive truck bomb attack in Baghdad. Those are your top stories for today. I'm Lynette Samim. I'll see you again tomorrow for more updates. Take care.
عذرا بيروت.